The first step in processing is going to be to load all the images into Lightroom and individually edit each image. Now, that sounds like a lot, but it's really not because it can be done with just a batch. So, to start off with, you go to File and Add Photos. I usually import all of the still images that I want to use into a folder on my computer so that I can throw any out that maybe have too many clouds or anything like that, so I'm not trying to process images I'm not actually going to use. For this example, I went ahead and loaded the images in so that I wouldn't have to wait when I start this video. The next thing I do is select the first photo, and I'm going to come over here. I have the edit screen open, which is these three settings bars right here. I'm going to scroll down and I start from the bottom and work my way up. So I start with dehaze because that's what's going to take out your light pollution and some of the atmospheric disturbance. And it's going to clarify the stars really well. You have to be careful because if you do too much of it, see, you get some funky white around the where the trees are. So, but a little bit of that's okay because we'll get it with the rest of the settings. I move up the clarity a little. I move up the texture a little. I just want to give some pop to the stars. Saturation comes up a little. Vibrance comes up a little. I leave the temperature alone because I shoot that at that 4,000 that I said in the other video. That's a little cooler temperature, which gives me a little bluer sky. So I'll leave that alone. Come up here further. In this section here under light, I'll play with the exposure, bringing it up just a little bit. See how grainy that gets when you do too much there. Up just a little touch. That brought up a lot of stars, okay? Contrast, very careful with that as well because it can add a lot of grain, so I just give it just a little nudge. That looks pretty decent. Highlights. I may or may not adjust it depending, and it may actually get turned down. So let's leave that one for the moment. Shadows, I definitely want to turn down. And the blacks I will turn down also to give it that darker sky. Whites are mostly the stars. That'll come up just a little. And now highlights I'll figure out what I want to do with. Yeah, kind of is a little unnatural looking. We've got a little bit of sky glow going on. I don't want it to get too dark, so I'll just make a very gentle adjustment there. I see that I have some stars in this area here where they're just starting to come up. That's good. I'll make really small little adjustments now just to make sure that I'm getting the kind of result that I want to. I want to clear out a little bit of this noise. So in order to do that, I'm going to scroll further down here into the noise reduction section. And I want to turn up the luminescence just a little bit here and see if that's improving it. It seems like that smoothed out some of the parts I was concerned about. Now that that's a little better, let's come back up here and let's see if we can give it just a little more highlight and be okay. Yeah, that's not bad now. Not that much, just a little bit there. Maybe a little on the white. It's really up to each individual person what you really want the individual image to look like. The next thing I'll do after this, I'm pretty satisfied with this image. Most of them are going to be about the same. I usually pick one at the very start or the very end of my images because that's going to be the lightest image, and that's the one that I want to be careful not to blow out too badly. So this here, I will now right click on the image and go to copy edit settings. and then scroll my scroll bar all the way over. And I'm going to click that final image there and paste edit settings. That's going to edit all 753 photos. So there that goes. There's a little status bar up here in the paste settings. It's going to take a while to do this because it's nearly 800 images that it's going to edit. So this will probably take 10 or 15 minutes. Once that's done, what I'll do then is I'll click on the share, and I will select for it to be JPG large, and I will put it into a folder on my laptop that is just for this. So I'll show the folder setup that I use when I do that part there. So I'll be back in a little while to show the next step. The next step is going to be to export all these edited pictures. I have them still selected. I haven't decided if I'll use these really bright ones in these first ones or not, but we'll see as the process goes on. I may get rid of some of those to keep it from washing out the rest of the image. To do the export, simply come up here to the share button. I'm going to select a JPG large so that it has 100% quality. And then I have a file structure here that I use. I am going to put this one in to the October the 1st. All the pictures directly from the camera went into the raw directory. So now these are all edited. They will go into edit. I select that folder and it'll start exporting. So the next step now is going to be to put the images in StarStax and let it work its magic. So right before I do that, I'm going to take a look through and see, like, okay, this one's got some artifacts that I don't want, so let me get rid of that one. That might just add some interest and not really be too serious. It'll just be a little red. So I'm just making a quick run through to see anything that might be disruptive to the final product. And I'm going to check those bright images and probably get rid of several of those. The cool thing is that even if you see this later, if you see a problem, it's very easy to just delete an image and create a new video. Okay, so yeah, see, these are pretty bright compared to the other ones here. So let's just go, oh, I want a little bit of extra brightness, but not a lot. So maybe starting right here to the end, I'm going to go ahead and pull those out. Okay. So yeah, see, it's a little brighter, but it's nothing too terribly extreme. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to Control A and select all of these, if it will be kind enough to let me. There we go. And open my window to StarStax. Actually, let's just go ahead and scoot this over a little bit and do it this way, make it nice and easy. Drop the images there. We ended up with 740 of them. So, settings for this. This is always going to be done in lighten mode. This is the same as what you would do in Photoshop. You can do comment mode if you like. That will only stretch the star trails for so long before it stops them. I actually let it go the whole way. I want to save after each step. And then I come in here and rename it to just something a little less long. 2024 1001 ST for Star Trails. And then I'm gonna browse, go under October 01N. I always do the SS folder for StarStax, so I know where my Star Trails images are going. Select the folder. The main thing here, honestly, is that save after each step, and you'll see why. This runs really fast, so I'm going to let you just see the whole process rather than pause. So, you just go up here to this icon right here, this fourth one over, and that's going to kick off the process, and you can watch it go. And it's working its way through the images. And you notice how it put in the things like the red light, and then the darker images don't actually overlay that, so that'll just stay there. I don't hate it though. Let's see. Next, we're going to do our first recording. Over here, I've navigated to the directory containing all the edited photos. This is a very easy, you don't really have to do a lot of this stuff over here. You do go in here and let this load for, I let it usually load for probably a minute or so before I try and do anything with it, just to let it pull all this data down. And then this button here is basically our play button. Come in here, I have it set to 4K. The quality is very high. My frame rate is just under 30. Motion blur is relatively low, down at a 3. I want it to be a 16:9. I'm going to actually click this export and render, so this will ask you to save it in a directory. And it has to be a different directory than what the stills are in. So I'm going to put it in the main directory. As you see, the stills are in the edit directory, so that's perfectly fine. And then I am going to rename this here to the date of it, 2024 1001 NL. And I just do that, NL being night lapse. So this is where the stars are going to move across the screen, but not star trail across the screen. So I will export and render on that. And that will take a while to go. It shows down here the progress bar as it's going. So this will probably run for 20 minutes or so, something like that. And we'll see the result after it's done. The next step is going to be to do the exact same thing, except for now we're going to run it in the SS directory. So this is where I put the star trails images, and we're going to run the automation to stack them into a video file. So same as the last one, we'll click on this button right here, start the process, click on this export and render current sequence. It will ask for where you want to save the work. It does have to be different than where your files are currently at. So I'm going to pick the over directory, which is this one here. All the files are in SS, so this is a good location for it. Keeps all my files together for when I compile my final video. Same thing, I have all of these set. Codec, I don't know quite what that one is. 4K, very high. Motion blur is 3. Let's change this file name. And I'm going to call it 2024-10-01 ST for Star Trail. And if anybody's wondering why I do my date this way, I'm actually a Unix computer geek, and if you start your files with the year, then everything automatically goes in order when your things are sorted. So it's just a habit from leaking over from my professional life to my hobbies. Alright, here we go. We're going to export and render and let that run. It'll probably take it half hour or so to create, and then I'll come back after it's done and we'll start the fun part of getting it ready to all put together. Yay! It's gonna be fun. You'll like it. And here we go, the step you've all been waiting for, the assembly of the final product. So this I do in Premiere Pro, and you can simply go under File and New. I've got the screen up and ready for it here. Go to where your files are stored. So in this case, I put everything under this 2024-10-01. So I'll double click it and open that up. And you can see in here, I have the video files, the star trails, the night lapse. I have a audio file to go with it, and my closing thank you and subscribe, that kind of thing in there. So I'm going to add all of these, and I start with, I do these in order so I don't have to move them around so much, but I start with the night lapse, and then I move into the star trail, and then I do thanks and stay, and of course then the audio file. And I ask it to go ahead and create. So it's going to do that. All right. And then I move the audio file down into its own line. Let me move this over. So you can grab this in the middle and go back and forth like this to see, or you can slide one slider one way, slide it down so that you can make all this bigger so you can get in between it. I usually do add a video transition from the end of the video to my thank you, and the easiest way to do that, I actually do it with the shortcut, which is Control D, and it complains about that. That's fine. Okay, so now we have this. Let's take a look and let's see how my audio, sometimes the audio doesn't work immediately. We'll see if it does. Yeah, it is. Okay. I've got my audio turned down, but I can hear it. I didn't want it to overwhelm what I was saying or anything. So you can see how the stars are all sparkling and carrying on. And then it goes right on into the actual star trails. And if I wanted to do any more editing to these, I could actually open them up in Lightroom and edit the individual videos before I assemble them. I'm pretty okay with it as it is, though. I think this one actually turned out pretty good. And then it goes into my thank you. Please like and subscribe. Final message for anyone that sees it. All right. So I'm pretty happy with that. What I'm going to do next, so let me spread that out just a little bit so I can get to the end of it. And bring that down to the same length. Let's move that back just a little bit, make sure I got that right. There we go. You can tell because it actually gives those little, see how it gives you that little, those little like down arrow. Shows you that you're in alignment. So you're out of alignment and there it's in alignment. So that way you know the entire thing will finish at the same time, which is good, because otherwise you end up with, you know, like a black screen and music still playing. So now that all of that is done, the final thing, honestly, is just to do an export of it. And I will put this into the same directory. October the 1st. And that is going to go in here. And then I give it a name, 2024-10-01. Finished. And that way I know, because see, everything is in this same directory, the star trails, the night lapse. That way, if I want to change anything, do anything, I've got everything all right there together. The raw images are still there. I'll hold those for a couple of days, and then I'll get rid of the raws. I'll keep the edits a couple of days longer. And then I'll get rid of also all the extra ones, because I just don't have the space to hold on to very many of these files. So we'll save that, and then come back over here and go ahead and tell it that was just given it the path. I leave this unchanged and clicked export, and it's going to go ahead and do its thing. And as you see, it doesn't take very long to do this. I mean, it's saying it's going to take it a minute, but I'll be surprised if it really actually does. It usually goes pretty quick, so. And then as soon as that's done, we'll be able to see the actual final result. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to contact me, send a comment, send a message, whatever. You know, I'm happy to work with people and try and clarify anything that might not have been very clear. So any of that. This is my first time trying to make a video like this, so I'm hoping that I will have explained things well enough. Got my fingers crossed anyhow. I'm hoping you enjoy it. And so that should be finishing up. That it's almost there. There it is. My video was exported, so I'm going to open up the file. And let's take a look at this and see what we got for a final product. Thank you very much for watching.